January 10th of this year, the governor implemented a gun and magazine ban and also had a registry component, and lawsuits have been filed since. In the Southern District, you had already pending lawsuits in the Northern District challenging local gun bans in places like Naperville and Cook County and Chicago. But then in the courts, after the state passed their statewide ban and registry, you had the federal courts acting and providing for direction as to which way the different jurisdictions were going. Northern District, both judges with separate cases sided with the state. Southern District, you've got the case still pending, and now, even though it's up in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, you've got a second of the plaintiffs groups that are seeking some action in the Southern District. So what's the latest status of litigation against Illinois gun ban? We've got it here. Nothing out of the appeals court. Still waiting for any kind of ruling. They heard that case June 29th. But whether or not they're going to rule with a three-judge panel against or for the state, we'll see. But it could go to the U.S. Supreme Court from there, or there could be an option to have it en banc, which means all judges in the Seventh Circuit would hear it. And then make a decision from there. And that's about the Southern District's, injunction that was put on for 6 days before the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals stayed that injunction, if you recall, way back in April. Here it is, October 27th. Almost a full month as the registry has opened. But in the Southern District, you had Thomas Mag with the case. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. He's looking at the vagueness question. Now you have the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois. They have filed in the Southern District to amend their case. And I'm just going to read to you here from the docket entry. It talks about, let me see if I can pull this up for you. Get this all queued and ready and get my internal producer to switch that over. All right, so I don't know if you could see this, but just a little overview of the docket entry. All right, so let's go ahead and full screen that. You've got the yesterday in that Southern District case, an order being issued here saying that in this case, they're going to ask for an amended complaint. And they've got a motion to amend that complaint, but the defense is directed to file a response. File a response in opposition or non-opposition, and that's going to be required by 11/6, so November 6th. Stephen McGlynn signing that order. So you've got the motion to leave being shown for November 6th. We'll see what happens with the Southern District and getting that amended complaint in. But obviously, you've got the state that's going to provide some kind of response there. So we'll be watching for November 6th in the amended complaint, because Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, earlier this week, they said, we're going to amend our complaint because the registry's opened. And it's problematic for firearms owners who feel their rights are being, taken away. So they spelled out the various reasons why they believe that the gun registry needs to be halted or delayed, the January 1st deadline, or you can face criminal penalties. Delay that deadline while this plays out in the courts. So that's ultimately what the direction is in the Southern District. But the Southern District also dealing with a separate case, and this is the FOID card challenge case that Thomas Mag brought in a separate case altogether. And there's been some updates there, and I do want to clarify something. Earlier when we were talking about this, I mistakenly saw November 18th, 2023 for a bench trial. That is not the case. You can see here clearly the docket entry has November 18th, 2024. So I just want to make sure we're clear on that. Looking at a bench trial for next year, which is much further out than I thought. But either way, they went ahead and changed some of this up. So they struck some things, and they went through and they spelled out even more this week, even yesterday, canceling a status conference that was set for November 1st of this year. So they canceled that. And again, this is the FOID card challenge in federal court. So they're looking at a status conference for June 2nd of next year. June 2nd of next year. And they got to get some discovery things all put together by May 31st of next year. So this looks like it's moving forward as well. Now, this case, if you recall, it was a two-charge case that Mag brought against the FOID card. but also against the venue limiting bill. So I got to check back to see exactly where that's going to land, because I think they are going to remove that and put it back into state court. So that's a little bit of an update on the Southern District federal court case, especially when it comes to the challenge of the FOID card. Now, there's other lawsuits, of course, across the country dealing with sensitive places, and that's something that's coming up a lot with the Maine mass shooting story that continues to develop. What kinds of sensitive places are keeping people from carrying firearms for self-defense? You got to think about schools, universities, hospitals, public transportation, those types of things. So there's lawsuits against some of that. But you've got other issues, and we talked previously about the Orders of Protection bill in Illinois, and whether or not that's constitutional. I think they got a case that's going to be in front of the U.S. Supreme Court soon. So we'll definitely be tracking that as well. So that's a little bit of an overview, at least where we're at with some of the latest twists and turns in litigation against Illinois' gun ban and other gun laws in Illinois. Again, appeals court, nothing. We haven't heard nothing. In the Southern District, you have the latest filing and some order for the state to respond to the federal firearms licensees of Illinois. That being posted yesterday. You've also got a separate firearm owner identification card challenge in the Southern District that looks like it's moving forward with some deadlines being changed around, but that's not going to be handled until next year. So we'll actually have to kind of put that on the back burner and come back and revisit that case. But don't forget also, you've got public hearings that are scheduled. And next week, you've got all lined up in Springfield, Chicago, and Caseyville. If you are checking this out, you can obviously see the Illinois State Police with their latest rules that they filed, and they've got public hearings that are scheduled. And I'll let you guys kind of screen capture this so that you can get the information, because obviously, you've got D1 in the Stratton building in Springfield, which still haven't seen. I had like 5 or 6 different state and local employees trying to get the room size, like the actual fire code, limits for Stratton D1. It's a small hearing room in the Springfield Capitol Complex. That's going to be Tuesday, November 2nd, all right, in Springfield, 9:30 in the morning. And you can also go to WebEx and register that way. Of course, if you want to do that, possibly run into technical difficulties, there's always a possibility of that. But Springfield's not the only one. They've got 2 others, and those have been scheduled as well. So Friday, up in Chicago, at the Blandick building, 9:30 in the morning, they're going to have another public hearing on the FOID firearm registration, gun ban, all of it. So Illinois State Police laying out all 3 of the public hearings, beginning with Thursday, November 2nd in Springfield, and then Friday, November 3rd in Chicago. 9:30 in the mornings when both of those begin. And then the following week, Monday the 6th, down in Caseyville, they're going to have yet another hearing. So again, check out the latest for the public hearings that are going to be happening, and you'll be able to obviously attend in person. Or if you can't make it, you can also attend via WebEx. So you can do that virtually. So wanted to get you that point of information as well. But back to this idea of that hearing room in Springfield. It's pretty small. I asked State Representative Blaine Wilhauer about this, and he shared some of his thoughts on, just how tiny of a room Stratton D1 really is.
No, I don't think it's appropriate to do that in a small committee room. I think they're going to find pretty quick that there's a lot of people that are very anxious for some answers and just some accountability, somebody to actually talk to about, how they're going to do this. Is this the right thing to do? So, yeah, having it in a committee room in the Stratton, I think they're going to find that they're going to get pretty squeezed in there pretty quick. So I think the more light, the more transparency that we get on this issue and any other issue is definitely a good thing and appropriate for sure.
We'll be there, and I imagine a lot of gun rights supporters will be there, and even somebody in the chat room live this morning expecting people like Moms Demand Action to be there as well, to be there like an army, they say. So clearly it's going to be contentious, and we'll watch that closely and see how those public hearings. So that's something to look at for next week. All right, so be sure to stay tuned each and every weekday morning here with Bishop on Air. You can email me, bishoponair@gmail.com. You and comment below. The incredible amount of activity with the channel lately has been pretty humbling, I should say. So I appreciate everybody's support. It really does mean a lot. Fuels my fire because, listen, I'm just doing this at home, hanging out after years and years and years in terrestrial radio. I'm just like, hey, you know what? Work smarter, not harder. My full-time gig has me at the State House quite a bit, and that's obviously something that we will continue to focus on each and every day, getting you the latest, because not everybody reads the newspaper, not everybody's listening to radio. Some people are just getting their news online, including this very YouTube channel, so appreciate you guys checking it out. All right, Bishop on Air. Again, follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air on Facebook, X, right here on YouTube, Rumble as well. Got to figure that whole thing out. But either way, go check it out, all right?